Hello, I'm Sean.
And this is Sawyer.
And welcome back to the second installment of
the S&S Podcast.
Did you guys completely forget about this?
We wouldn't blame you because we did too. Well, we were originally going to try and make an episode every week.
But clearly we ended up treating it like every other responsibility in our lives.
Anyway, where were we?
I can't even remember. I was having an existential crisis.
You know, thinking about our hopeless lives, spiraling into poverty and depression really makes me want to play Fortnite.
But that name is copyrighted and we don't have permission to use it, so, let's hear a word from our sponsor. Are you tired of Fortnite being too fun?
And your favorite baseball player hurting their arm because of it?
Well, then we have just the solution for you. It's time to get
Fort Day! The less than epic text-based game that isn't addictive at all.
Because it's absolutely god-awful.
We guarantee you'll be deleting it within the first hour of playing.
You can get Fort Day today for a small payment of your dignity.
Because we have no morals. We're live? Okay. Geez, compose yourself. Alright, compose yourself.
I don't think I can.
Oh, God forbid I have a half-decent co-host. Okay, today's topic. The trail of Teddy Roosevelt. He was a very interesting character, probably one of the most unorthodox presidents we've ever had. These days we have presidents who are cut and dry and talk about getting things done. Whether or not they actually get those things done is another topic, but that's besides the point. He was a different kind of president, though. If you thought that boxing in the basement of the White House was beyond American standards, you haven't heard of Teddy Roosevelt.
Don't forget about the part where he went on a boat ride down the Amazon River.
Where were you?
I just went on a little adventure.
To where?
The mountains of Louisiana.
What? There are no mountains in Louisiana. And how did you even get there? We're in Massachusetts, for God's sake.
That's besides the point. Sorry about that. I just needed to...
Alright, no one cares. Back to Teddy Roosevelt. What do you know about him?
Well, what I do know is that he had serious asthma as a child, and the doctor said he wouldn't live past his teens. However, his father refused to have a sick son, and helped him turn into a very active young man, which helped his condition. He lived to see 60 years, eventually being defeated by a pulmonary embolism, which is a blood clot in the lungs.
A tragedy. While he was still alive, however, he did some really crazy things. He would get up and leave his family for months at a time. On one such excursion, he went on a hunting trip in Africa, killing 512 animals within a few months' frame, then decided to write to his wife back home and tell her he missed her, even though it was his choice to leave in the first place.
Speaking of his wife, on February 14 of 1884, he got a call informing him that his wife and mother were both dying. Teddy rushed home just in time to watch them both die just hours apart. Devastated and unable to cope with his grief, he moved to the Dakotas to become an actual cowboy.
Sounds like someone else I know.
You know what?
And we're back again. Before Teddy Roosevelt became president, he actually chose to become the governor of New York City. Being one of the biggest cities for crime, he would be crazy enough to go out at night and search for criminals on the streets.
He was crazy, and many of the people around him became sick of his chaotic and impulsive behavior.
So what did these said colleagues do? They did everything in their power to get him out of the city and make him the vice president of the United States.
Great plan, guys. What could go wrong? You just put the guy one step away from becoming the leader of our entire country. You'd better pray that nothing happens to the president.
Unsurprisingly, being vice president was one of the most boring things he'd done in his life. It wasn't very long before he slightly overstepped his boundaries by starting a war.
He put together a group of soldiers called the Rough Riders, who were mostly composed of Teddy Roosevelt's cowboy friends, but they fought well and got the job done for our very own US of A.
And get this, even after he started a war and took over Panama to terraform and literally split the Americas in half, he managed to get the Nobel Peace Prize because he negotiated peace between the Russian and Japanese in their own war.
Man, by this point, this guy's already done more than I'll ever do in my lifetime.
It's okay, Sean, we know. And we haven't even mentioned his lucky break. The unfortunate assassination of President McKinley.
Oh, that's right. On September 6th of 1901, Theodore Roosevelt's predecessor, William McKinley, was at a concert hall in Buffalo, New York, when he was shot twice in the abdomen.
The dying president managed to survive 8 days before his wounds got infected and he couldn't hang on any longer.
His death was unfortunate, and Leon what does that say?
Gosh?
Okay, you know what? Leon C., the man who murdered him, was sentenced to the electric chair.
How shocking.
You're such a disappointment.
I know. Anyways, it's important to remember that McKinley's death left the presidency wide open, which, well, that meant.
Yep, Roosevelt becomes president. Imagine how his buddies in New York felt after this. Apparently they didn't pray hard enough.
Apparently not. But his time as commander-in-chief didn't end up being a complete disaster like many thought. He established a number of regulations and reforms that reformed today's regulations. Wait, what?
That's true. We have Teddy Roosevelt to thank for the fact that our hot dogs aren't infested with rat poison. He also ended some of the corruption that used to occur in business, so... yeah.
Awkward transition between two things that probably shouldn't be together.
Yeah.
Yay. Not only was Mr. Roosevelt ambitious, but he was basically immortal as well. On October 14th of 1912, he was shot in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, just as he was preparing to give a speech. Being instantly tackled by the crowd, the man who shot him, John Schrank, probably would have been beat to death if Roosevelt hadn't urged the mob to stop.
He even asked the police not to hurt the poor guy, and Theodore refused to go to the hospital until after he gave his speech. Talk about insanity.
Speaking of insanity, John, the man who tried to kill Roosevelt, claimed that the ghost of McKinley had visited him in a dream and asked him to avenge his death. So he was sent to a very, special place where he would be, very safe.
Since when are asylums safe?
Oh my...
Anyways, we have just barely scratched the surface of this man's incredible life.
Indeed, and if you want to learn more, you can find plenty of stories online.
Or you could just talk to Mr. Murphy. He must be pretty close to memorizing this man's entire life from birth to half-death to half-death again and then actual death. And I would like to personally thank Sawyer for designing the thumbnail for this episode. It looks amazing.
Yes, thank you. I know it does. Have a great day, everyone.
And remember, Fortnite is not alright, but Fort Day is okay.